Welcome to the free tutorial TV. So in this video we will explore two of the most commonly used widgets in Flutter to display the list of items, the list view and the grid view. By the end of this tutorial you will know how to build scrolling list and a grid in the Flutter. As we have already done many times that in order to set up your own Flutter, you can go to the command prompt and type flutter create and give the project name. This way you can create your own projects using Flutter. If you want to use already create Flutter, you can open an Android Studio, where in this Android Studio we can also create new, and we can also open which is already created. Now this is the project which we have been continuing from the start of this tutorial, so I will use the same platform, same project to do this demo. What is a list view? Scrollable list of the widget can be vertically or horizontally. You can scroll any items which you have created using the list view on a Flutter or in an Android app. Can be scrolled left to right or right to left or top to bottom or bottom to top. In this example we will create a list view dot builder that shows a list of fruit. So these are the lists of fruit which we'll be creating, and we will scroll and show you the demo. What is a grid view? A grid view is a display widget in a grid which is defined by two parameters, rows and column. The rows and columns should be given as an integer value. So in this demo we will show you with 2 rows and 3 columns. To display images in a grid, you have to use a gridView.count to build a simple image grid on an application. Now as you know that how to create a list and a grid on our applications, and to show the demo we will create a new dot file. So create a new dot file, let's say list and grid view dot dart. So this is a file which has been created, and this file can be used to display like how we would like to call from our main. So in the main we will add a new button, and this button is used to call this page which is called list grid view dot. Now we have to call the functions, the class which has been created in the list view dot. As we know that in the start of the writing codes we need to import the package flutter material dot. So let's create a class called list grid view, which extends a stateless wizard, and this is how we can create a class name called list grid view. Inside this we will create a variable for the display of all the fruits that to be displayed in the list. So these are the now for the grid view we want to display the images. So those images has to be mapped and from the image folder. So I do have some images which has been created before. So I will collect 6 images and then load it into the applications. So you can paste it directly into this path and you got images here. These images has to be mapped in your pubspecs YAML. So you need to open here and come into the assets folder, and here you want to declare the part of the images, as 1. Now since we already created, I can copy this 6 times. So let me change the name to image 1, image 2, image 3, image 4, 5 and 6. These are the number of images that has been already loaded into the image resources. After that, users click pubget to load the images into the system. These are the images that has to be mapped into our application. Now these images needs to be defined along with an extension, so the complete will be with the extensions. So let's copy this and let me paste it with the extension, and just one more time click pubget. Now there is no error in the image loading. Now let's come to the grid view. Here I need to create an variable for loading all the images into the grid. So list the asset images, which these are the going to be defined inside the grid view. Now as we already done a similar kind of code, from here I can directly copy this and make some modification as required. So for the grid view I can copy this code, and here we can define the list view and the grid view with the assets. What is the container of the list view examples? The container is defined in this block of code, where the list of the fruit length will be loaded from the list title, which are the list is given here. That's called fruit list. So fruit is the list which you will be assigning to each title as with the index 1 to 6. As similar as above, for the grid view you need to define one more container with given details. So we have defined a 3 column with the difference spacing as 8 pixel and the asset map to the asset part of the grid images that will be placed inside each grid, and that grid will be displayed within a rectangle block, and that is what is been defined here into the box fit. So now let's see that by running this into our simulator or emulator, you can find out how it looks like. Okay, so the emulator is on. Now let's select the Pixel 8 mobile and click the run button. This will load the APK into this emulator. The APK is loaded into the emulator, therefore the application is open here. Since we have not mapped our main dot as per the class created here, so I need to change this class calling here. So if the button click here, instead of this I need to define here saying that this is a list view and the list and the grid view, list and grid view. So this I am not able to get it, So we need to import the library. So when you click the import library, it will import the UI, the GridView dot. With this, when you click this form, it will be navigating to GridView dot. Let me rewrite the code once again. Yes, now in the last button you can see that list and the grid view. Click on this, it will navigate to here. So now here I can scroll it, but the image is not displayed here. So there is an error in displaying the image. So this shows that the path to the image is not assigned properly. That is why we are not able to see the image. But since this definition path is wrong, so for this we need to copy the same path as we have declared here as defined as a file path, but here it is somewhere it is defined as jpg. This is wrong, so I need to modify this file name correctly, and in this way I will be able to rerun the code once again. Let's see that how it works. Now let's click grid view. Fine, we are able to see this images in the grid view example, as well as we are able to scroll the list view, and this example code is also available in the GitHub. You can download from the GitHub, run and check with this code. Thank you.